Please refer it to your
I'm here. Okay. Good morning. Good morning. I'm calling from Woodmere.
CMO, Urea, S, the Tira, people, the things, GMO remains irrational, work, put it on in front of the cup, hallelujah. Morning, Kobe. Sure for joining us. I like to have in front of you. You. Okay. Arya, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you.
Good morning.
Just wait till it's okay. Okay. Yeah. Before we start, from what I printed in the note, so someone came to me this week. He lost his Kesuva. So we made a Kesuva the Irkisa.
You had it, no? You had a problem once.
It's funny, someone came to me a couple of weeks ago. He was angry at his wife and he ripped the Kesuva. Now there were Mispayas. It's not so poshut that requires a Kesuva the Irkisa. As long as it's not a Kera Bezdin, it's a kosher to start. So what's a Kesuva the Irkisa? So Kesuva the Irkisa is if a person lost the Kesuva, he's not allowed to be with his wife, even for a small time, under one roof, because I wanted that the woman should have a Kesuva in her hand. That was for the benefit of Bnei Yisrael, for the dignity of Jewish women. Because I wanted that she should always have under her hand a contract that shows the obligations that her husband has towards a Chas v'Sholom. He passes on that she has that contract in her hand. So Irkisa means that was lost. The Kesuva that replaces the original Kesuva.
If they go up to a summer home, do they have to take this Kesuva?
No, but don't have to take it with them. But she always has to know where it is and it has to be under her possession. So there is
the original, or was it a copy's good enough?
No, original. Copy is not good enough. A copy is not good. There is also a Kesuva d'shtakach beitausa. Sometimes if there is a mistake, it's a different nusach. It's a very different nusach. It was interesting that I did it from a Friday. So there's an interesting thing that the Nachla Shiva talks about. In general, all the shtaras that we make today are based on there's a Talmud of the Taz. It's called the Nachla Shiva. Very, very important sefer. This is mamish like Yisoidis for Batei Dinim that looking at shtaras. The Talmud of the Taz. Yeah. Yeah. So, but all the Batei Dinim use it today. I mean, it's like this is mamish. Nachla Shiva is like
get passion.
Right, exactly. Right, exactly. So interesting. He has a discussion here in the standard nusach is that we make with him a kinyan again. We make a kinyan with him again. He brings certain poskim that hold that the Kesuva the Irkisa need to have three has to have a bezdin. And the truth is, there's some poskim that hold that a regular Kesuva needs to have a bezdin. And he says the minig Yisrael is not to do that way. The minig Yisrael is to just have two Eidim. No. He says, and he has a whole pilpul about it. But the interesting thing, what's Nageya to Kesuva the Irkisa is that what was the problem? So some of the poskim had a problem that what happens if they get divorced, for example, and she wants to get the money for the Kesuva, and he sold land, and she's going to be toited from Lakuchis. So how do you know when was the time of the chasana? So the truth is, if you really don't know, you have to write the zman of the Kesuva the Irkisa.
Otherwise, the shtar is not a shtar.
Because the time is a critical thing in the shtar. Oh, but if you could verify when was the time of the chasana, then you write the time of the chasana. So what do we do today? You ask the person, send me a picture of the chasana invitation. Send me a picture from the album, right? Usually you have an album, a picture album. So I told him, send me a picture of the album. The photographer doesn't lie. The photographer makes an album, right? They pay $5,000. I don't know how much pictures cost.
They don't do that nowadays. Yeah, they just give you all 3,000 pictures and you do an album.
Okay, but
That
no, they don't give you any more an album.
No.
So they give you
Give you a USB stick.
Manhattan today, Manhattan Beach.
Yeah.
Ulam down there. Yes, you come, you make the deal, everything. You don't bring nothing. Everything by the Ulam.
Beautiful. It's beautiful. They have such.
So that's what they do, and then they give you everything back. So
Wow, beautiful. That's a beautiful thing.
and beside that, they have a pincus like Chevra Kaddish.
And they write everything down.
Right.
Okay. So if you okay, fine. So if you have so that's what we do. We try to verify the zman of the chasana. So
Before Shkia, after Shkia.
oh, so even the before and after shkia thing, he has an interesting svara. He says that when a chasana has a koil, a person knows that a man is married. If you're doing business with a married man and you bought land from him, so you know he's married. So you didn't know exactly when he got married. So it's incumbent on you. It's not so hard to find out when a man got married. By Yidden, the minhag Yisrael is to make a big thing out of a chasana. So therefore, it's as long as you can bring to show the Edom a little something to show when the chasana was. The people, the lekuchas can't say, oh, how do you know when's the chasana? When you buy land from a married man, it's your responsibility to find out when he got married. And if you didn't, you probably thought, okay, listen, whatever it is, I'm buying this land with
He's not going to get the worst.
There was another interesting shaila. I showed this guy a few hours before I'm doing the Kesuva for him. I show him the Kesuva. His wife's name is Rezel. So and I write it with one root yud because it's brought in the Sforim that like Leib, if you say Leib, like we say, even that come from Lithuania, White Russia, Leib. So you want with one yud. If you come from Galiciana or other places where they say Leib, you write two yud. Leib is zwei yud. So I said, I know, and you're not you're Lubavitch, so the Rezel is with Yon Yud. She said, no, Rabbi, you're making a big mistake. Okay, why am I going to argue with someone? So I said, how do you write the pan? When you write a pan, when you write a kvittel, you write a pan, you go to the oil. It says, I write my wife's name with two Yuds. So there's a tshuva from the Divrei Chaim that sounds at Rebbe, that he said that you have to realize that when a person writes a pan to his Rebbe, that's nageh b'tzipur nafshe. And if he spells his name in a certain way, you could spell him the name the same way. So I said, okay, fine, we'll change it to two Yuds. If that's the way you write when you write a pan, when you go to the oil, I said, you should know you're writing it wrong, but if that's the way you're writing it, change. Well,
It's wrong because it's Yiddish.
because it's Yiddish, and in Yiddish, it's not. It is. But still, if a person is muhzik to spell it in a certain way, so before, but they probably taka say Reisel. They taka say Reisel, so she's right. She taka. She says Reisel. Sometimes you say Reisel, but her name was Reisel. But in Lubavitch, it's not Reisel. It's a Reisel. It's a different pronunciation.
Like my name is Menachem Mendel. The Mendel spelled without the ayin. Parents were Israeli.
Right.
They without the ayin. I guess back in Hungary, whatever, in Poland.
Right, some with the ayin and without the ayin. It's true. Okay. With the ayin. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Okay. So this week's parsha is all about Kesuva. I remember that the Rebbe spoke about this with such chayas. At Hayitochen, it says in this week's parsha that the Eibishter, the Eibishter says, Yofes Echoson Shalav the Ovis, that we talk so arichas about the shidduch of Yitzchak and Rivka, and he says he gave him a star, and he said Kol Shalom. He gave him everything. Kol Shalom he gave to Yitzchak. That's Kol Shalom. So the Rebbe asked the question that Rambam writes in the end of Hilchos Erchim V'Karomim that lo'olam lo yakdish odam is kol asher loy. Oiseh kein oive al das hakosa. How could Avraham Avinu, who was then 140 years old, give away everything? That's what it says. Kol asher loy. He gave everything away. How could he give away for Kesuva, for Yitzchak, Kol asher loy? The Rebbe answered it in an interesting way. The Rebbe said, just like in Tzedakah, the Alter Rebbe writes that Tzedakah, you get, but if a person has a refuas nafsho, he can give even more because it's Kol asher yitin, at least yitin bad nafsho. Same thing here. Avraham Avinu didn't look at this marriage as a detail in his life. Baruch Hashem, I'm getting married, it's nice. He saw this as everything. His whole life, this is the beginning of Klal Yisrael. The marriage of Yitzchak and Rivka is the beginning of Klal Yisrael. So therefore, right? So therefore, this was a yoitza min haklal. Therefore, he wanted to show that he's giving his whole everything. Everything is giving him. Everything is giving. As kol asher loy, he gave to Yitzchak. Reminds me of a story. I only told it once in my house. Then I be careful not to say the story again. But we're descendants of the Toldos Yaakov Yosef. So the Alter Rebbe came, the Rebbetzin of the Toldos, he used to collect money for Pidyon Shvuim. The Toldos Yaakov Yosef was a town, right, somewhere in Russia. Yeah, it was I don't know what the family name is. Oh, Yaakov Yosef. And he was a Moedik Talmid Chochem. He was a big misnagid to the Baal Shem Tov and told the story sometimes. The Baal Shem Tov came to a city. He said they should give the Baal Shem Tov Malkus. And they taka did. But the Baal Shem Tov didn't care. He decided that this is going to be my Talmud.
But they said that the Baal Shem Tov said, since he's Marach, the opera, he can do whatever he wants. I mean, that's what they said.
If someone gave you a couple of wax, would you try to make him your Talmud? Would you work hard to make him your Talmud? But the Baal Shem Tov didn't care, and tak at the end, Rabbi Yaakov Yosef became a lot of the juiciest stories that we have, because he argued with the Baal Shem Tov. He didn't just come one day and became a Talmud. He argued. He felt. But then he was convinced by the Baal Shem Tov and became one of his biggest Talmidim. The Alter Rebbe was collecting Pidyon Shvuim, and he passed by a city, and the wife of Rabbi Yaakov Yosef told Alter Rebbe they have a daughter, and she's still not married. So and she said, "Do she have a husband? And no one's going to talk to him about it, but I know he'll listen to you." So the Alter Rebbe immediately went, and Rabbi Yaakov Yosef was makabel upon him very nicely, and they spoke. At the end, the Alter Rebbe told him that your wife told me you have a daughter, so what's going on with Shidduchim? So he said something like this is
My play.
yeah. So the Alter Rebbe said, the Gemara says, Bogra bitach shachrer avdech. That your daughter became old, the Shatchen is not answering your phone call, take your servant, be meshachrer him, he becomes a Yid, and marry off your daughter. So the Alter Rebbe getaich, Bogra bitach, that if your daughter is getting older, shachrer avdech, your avodas Hashem, emes taka, you're busy 24/7, avodas Hashem. You have to be meshachner, you avodas Hashem, and put your whole neshama into making a shidduch for your daughter. And then they say the story that he right away closed his phonim. And he said to the Alter Rebbe, Taka, what do I do? And the Alter Rebbe said, do exactly what I do. Travel around, and the Vaila people will hear your Toidas, and Taka, you're going to waste time. But the Vaila, and then you'll find the shidduch for your daughter. And people will give you pidyonis, and from them it's haben geld to machen. And he married off his daughter. And so we see from this week's
part outside of the story, telling it in the family.
Oh, when I said it,
what's the start of the story?
My wife said I should listen to myself.
Oh, okay. All right.
So I don't tell the story again.
So you don't travel to him, because I know you don't travel to him.
Building in the building. Doesn't get said that to me. Hey, how we got your name?
But then it says that today it's taka shidduchim are not easy. We have to know as parents and as Klal Yisrael that this is a very important thing to do. And sometimes we say, I'm busy learning Torah and doing the Nyanim I'm doing, but emphasis, it's a very important thing to spend our time to making shidduchim.
It's in this mirror.
Yeah.
Shabbos. Yeah.
Okay. Now, someone asked me a shayla this week. Like, what's the Chabad minig by Oseh Shalom? And so it's something that was very visible by the Rebbe, what he did. And there's an interesting minig Chabad of how the Rebbe did it. Now, it's interesting. There is, when a person does Oseh Shalom, there's two things. There's Oseh Shalom from Shemonah Esrei, and there's Oseh Shalom from the Kaddish. So there's two Oseh Shaloms, and in the Sefer Menhagim of Chabad brings a certain way, but Lepol, the Rebbe himself did it in a different way. And someone asked me about it. So
all the time you talk about it, you get
yes. So therefore I printed out, and I'd like to go through it now. If you need a copy, let me know. We have plenty of copies. On the Sefer Maimorim, the Rebbe used to print his father-in-law's Maimorim. The Rebbe was very, very big into Minhagim. Whatever you could say, this because Minhagim shows Minig Yisrael, it shows a deep connection between Yid and the Eibishter. It's machaben to something the Eibishter doesn't even say, but Minig Yisrael Torah, okay. And the Rebbe used to write, at the end, the Rishimus of different Minhagim that are Minhagi Chabad. Here the Rebbe writes like this: Atiyas v'akonos aroish beis amiris Oseh Shalom. Aleph shal tfilas lachash beis amiris Oseh Shalom emraimav. So Hatiyah v'akonos l'samoyel hamispalo. So when he says Oseh Shalom b'mraimav, these three words, right? He does harkona aroish l'samoyel. When he says who, it's be'emtza. Yasa shalom aleinu liyamina mispal. And then, Val kol Yisrael v'imro'om be'emtza.
The reason that Shulchan Aruch said.
It's a little different than the Shulchan Aruch. I'll show you. I'm quoting from the Shulchan Aruch.
Yeah.
It's a little different.
When you separate from the king.
Right.
So, when you're standing, so your image that is small, that is the image.
Right.
So you're not, separate
right.
from the image.
Right. Right. But the interesting thing is, he says by Kaddish, the minik Chabad is Oseh Shalom Emraimav is Limina Mispal. Who be'emtza Yasa Shalom Aleinu L'Smoil. We saw him Emraimav be'emtza. The Rebbe writes on that Rei Beis Yosef Oirachami Simen Nunvav V'Shulchan Aruch Reish Simen Kufcham Gimel V'Noisa Kela V'Tzorichim. Okay. I have a sefer at home called Iter Yad. Dina Iter, it's a beautiful sefer. Someone worked through all the things. He writes of it because I'm a lefty. So he writes, now what's the shaila? The shaila is that why should Kaddish be different than, why should the Oseh Shalom and Kaddish and Shulchan Aruch we don't find that the Oseh Shalom of Kaddish should be different than the Oseh Shalom of Shemonah Esrei? The truth is, if you look in the Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch Siman Nun Vav, the Alter Rebbe writes, L'achar shesayim HaKaddish, Noigim lifsoya gimel psiyas, v'achkach oimer Oseh Shalom emreimel k'moi b'siyim Shemonah Esrei. And so the Alter Rebbe in the Shulchan Aruch writes that the two are similar. And as I'll show you soon, that the marketers from the Trumas Hadeshen brought in the Beis Yosef, the Alter Rebbe Beferish says it. Again, L'achar shesayim HaKaddish, Noigim lifsoya gimel psiyas, v'achkach oimer Oseh Shalom emreimel k'moi b'siyim Shemonah Esrei. Simen Kufchav Gimel, the Alter Rebbe writes, and Mispal Tzorach Shifsa Gimel Psiyas Lachoyrev. Kederach Sheniftanim Lifnei HaMelech. This is a Gemara Mefureshes. Gemara Yuma. V'achkach Yitin Shalom. V'im lo yosakein kilo lo yispal. It's very strong Gemara. The Gemara says that this three psiyas is very important. V'noisim Shalom Tchila L'smoiloi Shehu Yemina Shechina Ashruya Kenegde B'tzeisa Min HaTvila V'achkach Limina Shu Smoila Shechina D'ainik Shoymer Oseh Shalom Emraimav Yata Berosh L'tzad Smoiloi Shoymer Hu Yasa Shalom Aleinu Yata Berosh L'tzad Yeminai V'lo Yitin Shalom B'Shoshe Poiseya, because that doesn't make sense. Right? Elo La'achakach, because a lot of people, they finishing up Shemonah Esrei quickly. So no, when you Poiseya, you don't say anything. V'lo Yitin Shalom B'Shoshe Poiseya La'achakach B'koydem Shepoiseya Yesh Lo L'chroya V'yifsa Hagimel Psis B'kriya Achas. The Rambam holds this way, that you should do it with a kriya. Then the Alter Rebbe says something which I don't see people do. ונהוג לא מאחר כי רוצים לפניך שיבונה בית המקדש כתפילה במקום העבודה ולכן אנו מבקשים על המקדש שנוכל ליס עבודה ממש. That's a shtakabah, could be. There are achronim that say, why do we do a light bend? We don't bend strongly. So because the Chazal and the Shas already told us which where your Koreya mishtachaba, and we don't have a nida kemoisif. And this came from later poskim, so therefore we do it a little more lightly. Interesting point this week, Wednesday night, someone asked me why some of these kriyas we do lightly, because that's what some achronim say. Okay, so this is the Rebbe. So what he says, what was the Rebbe's tzorechim? The Rebbe's tzorechim is that why would the Oseh Shalom, according to Minhag Chabad, be different from Shemonah Esrei to Kaddish? It should be exactly the same. The Gemara says, the Gemara says that when you're standing, the Eibishter is standing in front of you. So when you want to bow to the Eibishter, so you do to your left. Why? Because the Eibishter is right in front of you. Mm-hmm. So you want to first bow to the Eibishter's Yamin. So you go to your left and then to your Yamin. So that makes sense. And the Gemara says that. So why would Chabad do different when you do Kaddish? Why would you do different? The truth is, I hear the question, but I'm not sure it's such a strong question. I'm not sure that's what the Rebbe meant. I'm not sure it's such a strong question. And Kaddish is a very funny thing. Where does Kaddish come from? If you look in the Tur, in Siman Nun Vav, there's a very big arichas about Kaddish. Let's read a few lines. Is gadol v'skadash husad al pi mikra. Is gadalti v'skadashti amar b'malchem is gogu mogik shot is gadol shemesh al Kaddish Baruch Hu. Masha emrim hakadosh b'loshen targum yesh emrim mipnei hamalach shalei iskanu bonu.
Wait, what does that have to do with what does Kaddish have to do with Magog?
That says at that time the Eibishter's name will be strongly sanctified. So that's the posuk that's used. So we're using these words. Is gadol v'skadash.
All these we're saying it just for that one war, that one battle.
No, we're saying that we're waiting for the Eibishter's name to be sanctified.
Okay.
Masha ono emrim ken hakadosh b'loshen targum yesh emrim mipnei hamalachim shalei iskanu bonu shem misharachim shevach noah kazeh v'gam she'idei zeh Baruch Hu nisker l'churban habayis v'golus Yisrael Kedisa b'perek tam the Baruch b'shas Yisrael omen yesh menab hakadosh Baruch Hu v'nanei b'roishe v'amar oy lebanim shegolam al shulchan avim v'malei lo'av shekochim akaltzen es lebanim v'richikim al shulchanim k'vyachol yesh daigel lefonim avim yavinu as hamalachim zeh yekater gu aleinu akem oimen moine ba'oisa b'loshen shelo yavinu she'enu makirim amaram, as I spoke about it the Shabbos v'ripirish atam lefi she'regilim loimen oisa acher adrasha, and then Me'orid spoke Arami. So, but what I want to bring out is that we see that Shemonah Esrei, we say B'loshen HaKodesh, and Kaddish, we say B'loshen Arami. We don't want, forget it, Shemonah Esrei, we want the Malachim to hear it and help us out in the Tfilas, and Kaddish, so that's number one. Number two, Kosuva Shulchan Aruch, Siman Tzadik Zayin, Tziv Beis, also loy loruk, mim'ev shaloi loruk, mavli b'ksusa, v'in shaloi yanira. A person is not allowed to spit in the middle of Shemonah Esrei. You're allowed to spit in the shul, but you're not allowed to spit in the middle of Shemonah Esrei. It's not the kovedik. You're standing in front of the melech and you spit. Vimu istinish, in your chalid is davar mos. So if you need to spit, you have some phlegm, so you go, and you put it in your jacket, like this. You go like this in the jacket. Most people to us today, we would chalish before we would do such a thing.
Right.
We're not mesugal to do such a thing.
For nutrition.
Well, what if you don't have a tissue?
Have tissue.
You're not in base of Menachem Mendel. What if you don't have a tissue?
You go to Eagle so you can have the spitball.
Vimhu istenis pilish eine yochel lides davar mos, eine yochel lavli betzuse. Zorke la chere, vim efshel la zorke la chere, because people are standing behind them. Zorke le semoyle, avaloy li yamine. Holshkein the pon of the Oseh. Okay. Says that Amov Hodla Kamom Bereshim and Kupcham Gimel Sheif upon of Litzat Smail Tchilo. You mean Shalakadosh Baruch Hu Zakasha. Understand the kasha? He's asking a simple question. You're telling me if I should spit If I need a spit, I have no choice. I'm not in base of Menachem Mendel. There's no tissues, and I need a spit. And the phlegm came up, and I need to spit. So I should do it on my left side. Yeah, I should do it by my left. But you're telling me that I'm standing in front of the Shekhinah, and when I go back 3 steps of Oseh Shalom,
Your left is there.
my left is really the right because the Eibush is facing me.
Right. Yeah.
So the Ramo asks, so it doesn't make sense. So what does the Ramo answer? Yesh loim adatam kivin shema'olam lo yorda Shekhinah lamata masara tvachim. Im kein ein Shekhinah kineged hamispalo. Lefikach cholke kovid liyamin the idei berekike shebishas atfila. Avo kishbesei shalosh b'seis ha'odam march katz me'mamokem tfilosoi hu kineged Shekhinah lefikach noisim shalom esmoila shu kineged yamina shal HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Beis Yosef b'shem Abid. It's very funny when the Shulchan Aruch starts dealing with such questions. It's very, Shulchan Aruch is cut and dry. What you do with the milchik pot, what you do with the fleishik pot, what you do with the milchik fork, what you do with the fleishik fork. All of a sudden, we're talking about standing in front of the Rebbeinu Shalom. It's a little funny. So he's saying like this, that the Eibush is standing 2 ways. The Eibush, when I'm davening, is standing in front of me. But they also Hashem tzilcha, Hashem oimed liyadim inecha. And the Eibush is standing in both ways. The Eibush is not a human being. Ein ledemusa guf, ein guf. The Eibush is standing in 2 positions. One is Hashem tzilcha, Hashem oimed liyadim inecha, ki yamed liyamin evyo in leishia meshoftei nafshe. He's standing at my right side. So if I have to spit, I spit at my left, not at my right. Befrat ma'olam lo yorda Shekhinah lamata masara tvachim. There's a Yid that comes here and he loves to copy the Rebbe's lamata masara tvachim. I'm not sure he knows exactly what the Kaddish is, but the Chazal make a very big deal of this thing. The ma'olam lo yorda Shekhinah lamata masara tvachim. The Rebbe always used it as a thing that it never came down lower than 10 tvachim.
Which would mean what? So
that means that the Shekhinah stands here, it doesn't go lower.
What does this person do?
Give a minute. So the Rebbe said always that the Chiddush when Mashiach will be that the Shekhinah will come down even lamata masoret tvachim. The Rishus Rabbim goes till 10 tvachim, not higher. Higher than that is a mokim. It's a mokim tur, a carmelis. But Rishus when Mashiach will come, there'll be v'nigla kvod Hashem v'ro kol basa yachto. And there'll be also the kedusha lamata masoret tvachim. When I'm spitting lamata masoret tvachim. The spit is going to hit the ground. So therefore, Hashem tzilcha Hashem oimed liyadim inecha. The Eibush is on my right side,
Yeah, but
and
the shadow tzilcha can be depending where the light's coming from.
So even though the spit hits the ground before, my mouth is higher than 10 tvachim. So most people. So therefore, I should turn to my left. But the Eibush, when I'm going away from the Eibush, so the Eibush is standing in front of me, so I bow to my left, which is the Eibush's right. And it's so hard. Shulchan Aruch is so dry, but you have to. So basically, you see from the Shulchan Aruch that the person that's standing and davening to the Rebbeinu Shalom, the Eibush is standing in 2 positions. The Eibush is standing to your right. In other words, the Eibush is standing at your right, and the Eibush is also standing in front of you. So therefore, both are true. Okay, so now I could answer. When it comes to the Minik Chabad, you could say that both are true. When you're davening, who says Kaddish is Kohen Midlifnei HaMelech? Who says Kaddish is not Shemonah Esrei? Kaddish is Kaddish. Kaddish is Kaddish. So maybe that's what Minik Chabad is. The by Shemonah Esrei, because the Gemara says in Yuma, I'm going back 3 steps from the Eibush. So my left is the Eibish's right, because the Eibush is facing me. So I go left and then right. But by Kaddish, it's different. Hashem tzilcha. The Eibush is right next to me. The Eibush is walking with me. So therefore I go to my right and then to my left.
Right.
I don't know if this is a full teretz.
Is Kaddish and Kedusha connected?
To Shemonah Esrei? Chayre not. Kaddish is one thing, and Shemonah Esrei is another thing. But the emes is, it's not so true, because if you look, the Trumas Sadeshim brings, or they says that the minig is to at the end of Kaddish to say Oseh Shalom, to take 3 steps, and he says from the Ravya, which is one of the big Rishonim, that you're supposed to do it exactly the way Shemonah Esrei. And he says it's mistaber. just like Shemonah Esrei. Same thing here. So you see that the Rabbi, who's the mocker of the din, that you're supposed to do 3 steps by Kaddish by Oseh Shalom, compares it to Shemonah Esrei. So the truth is, you could split it here, and you could say he meant Lagabi the general thing, but it's Tzorechiyun. That's probably true that the Rebbe said Tzorechiyun. You could answer, but still it's Tzorechiyun. So therefore, the Rebbe was appellative. I think the Rebbe really meant with the Tzorechiyun another kasha, because in the Shulchan Aruch says it different than the Minhag Chabad. The Shulchan Aruch says it differently, because in the Minhag Chabad you do the left, the center, and then the right. But according to the Shulchan Aruch, you do left and then right. That's it. And then also there's a shachavo in the center, which
What's center, right?
oh, what does Lepoil Lubavitchers do? I do what the Rebbe did because the Rebbe did it in public, and in the Chabad Siddur they have in the bottom they write what the Rebbe did, and that's a new thing because when I was a child, even my children they had taught the old Chabad minhag, but I do because I saw what the Rebbe did. The Rebbe did more closer to what the Shulchan Aruch said, closer to what's in the Gemara and Yuma. The Rebbe used to do when he went back for Shemonah Esrei, he used to do Oseh to the left, Shalom, Bimroima, which is almost the way the Shulchan Aruch says it, which is left, right, center. Elamai, the Rebbe, the words is slightly different, but this is mamish the way the Shulchan Aruch says it: left, right, and then ishtachavo in the center.
Isn't that how we
Shulchan
do
Aruch says exactly the way regular Shulchan Aruch, Meis Yosef
Rav?
says.
Isn't that how we do the lulav? We do the lulav left, right.
No, don't get me mixed up with the lulav now.
I know,
So
but
it's complicated enough. So
Kaddish is for the Niftarim, so why we?
so could be that's why Kaddish, as I said, that's why. But the Rebbe Lepoya by Kaddish, the Rebbe did do Minhag Chabad, but halfway Minhag Chabad. By Kaddish, he would do reverse. He would do
Right.
Oseh,
Right.
Shalom, B'Mroima, right, left, center. So I think he had 2 problems with the Minhag Chabad. One is that it's a little different than the Shulchan Aruch says, which is the Gemara. The Gemara says you do left, right, center, or right, left, center. Why would the Chabad do it differently? Why would they do left, center?
Changes everything because Yaseh Shalom was about us being on the letter to Hashem.
So that's what. So the Rebbe did it, Lepoil, the way the Shulchan Aruch does it, not the way it was Minhag Chabad,
But for different
which was no, L'chayr the same reason that you do first the left, then the right, and then the center.
But
But by Kaddish,
Rema is Hashem, and Aleinu is down is
so
us.
the
I'm
words
saying
is
the
not so.
reason-
It's you could also say I'm not sure in the Shulchan Aruch itself. When the Shulchan Aruch said that he meant which words, a person could argue that the Shulchan Aruch that there wasn't bediuk which words. Because Shulchan Aruch is focused on what you do left, right, center. Could be that the Shulchan Aruch wasn't nochis so much which words are said at the left and then the right and which is center. You could argue, you could say not that way, but Lepoil, that's the way that Rebbe did. He did one word, Oseh, he did to the left, Shalom to the right, B'Mroimav to the center, which is very similar to what the Shulchan Aruch said.
The same thing. Left.
But by Kaddish, he would do reverse, like the Minhag Chabad. Shulchan Aruch, it's not mashma that way. From the Shulchan Aruch, it's mashma that that Kaddish, the Shulchan Aruch doesn't say beferish. I'm just saying what's mashma. Your Rebbe didn't discuss with you any otherwise. So whatever you do by Shemonah Esrei, you're probably doing by Kaddish. In Shulchan Aruch, it's mashma that by Kaddish, it's exactly the same thing.
Taught in 3rd grade.
Exactly. These are the things you're taught in 3rd grade.
And the 3rd grade, you're not saying.
And the 3rd grade Rebbe, Lav Dafka was Ma'ayin in the, but Lepoil summarize, if you're not Chabad, so you should do both Oseh Shalom exactly the same. And that's what's mashma in the Gemara. You do the left, then the right, and then the center. And the words, Takev, Shulchan Aruch is a little different, but Lepoil, the Rebbe did it, the word Oseh, Shalom, and then B'Mroimav. Shulchan Aruch is slightly different. Shulchan Aruch, as we had before, in the Simon Kuf Chav Gimel, is you see in the 2nd paragraph is that he says that Oseh Shalom B'Mroimav, these 3 words is L'tzat Smoil, Yaseh Shalom Aleinu is Liyamin, and the rest is the center. 3 words Liyamin, 3 words L'Smoil, and the rest is the center. So if you're not Chabad, that's what you should be doing.
You're going to give
That's
the
it.
reason why the new generation did the old minute?
No, so I'm explaining
You're saying, like,
why.
you can't
Why?
do
So
the-
the Rebbe didn't know that in Chabad they teach them the way it's in Sefer Minhagim. But
And
I
that's
would,
the other way?
yeah, but I would do it the way the Rebbe does it because the Rebbe Lepoel did it in public. My question is for a person who's a lefty by Kaddish, if he does Minik Chabad. So my question is like this. I know you're going to laugh, but my question is like this. Mela, when you're going by Shemonah Esrei, because he's standing in front of the Eibishter, and you're going left, right, center. I get it. But by Kaddish, if you go Minik Chabad, so because the Eibishter is standing on my right side. So by a lefty, does the Eibishter stand on his left side, which is really his right side? Or the Eibishter stands on his right side? I'm not sure.
Why?
I know it sounds like
Why would it change?
It would make a difference.
It does make a
Lefty
difference.
or righty.
Oh,
That's everything.
the lefty, when they do take your blood pressure and your heart, v'chulu, is exactly the same. It's you're a little screwed up wrong in the brain. But the heart is the Zal Bazach, a lefty and a righty. No, not true?
No, Shemayim did not think it left.
I'm not sure.
But
Totally
I
not
understand.
mashma.
If you do things a certain way and the next generation does it a different way, when is the minute gonna clash?
So we try to avoid that.
I think the minute should be like the Rebbe did it, because that's the way the Rebbe did it. My only question is, I'm a lefty, so when I do Oseh Shalom for Kaddish, I think I should do it the way the Rebbe did it. Why? Because I'm saying the Eibush is standing. Yeah, where's my Yetzer Tov and where's my Yetzer Hara? Probably my Yetzer Tov, even though I'm a lefty, my Yetzer Tov is on my right
On
side,
the left shoulder.
and my Yetzer Hara is on my left. No, where's the Yetzer Hara standing? On my right shoulder or my left shoulder? My left shoulder. No,
The devil in the
no,
It's everywhere, I'm afraid.
it doesn't make sense. It's the other way. Because Megashmi is.
Yetzer Hara, it's all over.
Uh,
So left or right.
Huh?
Try to get you.
Left or the right.
I usually give my left after.
And you're saying
I'm a
you
diet
just
to
have
give my
do
left.
Kaddish?
It's my strong hand. So sometimes I do my right because my father told me as a child. I think it's wrong. I think I should do it with my stronger hand.
Do what?
I'm doing a mitzvah.
It's
I
not
should do-
wrong, it's just not right.
Very good.
But still, it's honor is not.
Film is right, but still, you should, as machshivas of the mitzvah, I give tzedakah dafka with my left hand.
But films the runs of the pasuk.
No, that's right. It's a film. You're supposed to do your weak hand, yad keah. But I think in final analysis is that when it comes to the heart, is the right ventricle and the left ventricle, and the righty and the lefty have the same heart. So therefore, when the Eibishter is standing up,
Eyes in the right
What-
side. Same
right,
place.
right. So therefore, so a lefty should do the same thing. So if you're not Chabad, to summarize, if you're not Chabad, you should do like it's beferish in the Gemara, Shulchan Aruch, Samakuf Chav Gimel, and there should be no difference between Kaddish and Shemonah Esrei. You say 3 words to your left, 3 words to your right, and the rest you say in the center. But the right and the left is a Gemara Meforeshes, and the center is like Noagu Yisrael. If you're doing it the way that the Lubavitcher Rebbe's minig is, so bottom line is the way he did it, Lepel Mamish, that if it's for Shemonah Esrei, you do one word on the left, one on the right, one on the center, and if you're doing Kaddish, you do it the reverse. And I think the pshat is, like I said, that by Shemonah Esrei, the Eibush is standing in front of you, and by Kaddish, the Eibush is standing in the side of you.
But the leg movements stay the same?
The left move, yeah.
But they don't say Melo Kol Haaretz Kevodo.
For sure, Molekal it's kvoider, but
Why
still,
left, right?
but still, we see that there's more kedusha in the base of Knesset than the base of Medrash. There's more kedusha in the Kodesh HaKadoshim. There's Esa kedushas because even though Molekal it's kvoider, but where there is the revelation of the Shechina. So when I'm davening, the Eibush is revealing himself, ponim keneged ponim. So I'm physically acting as though the Eibush is visibly in front of me.
You said there's more Kedusha in the base of Knesset than the base of Medrash because it has a Sefer Torah?
What's the difference? Why? Am I asking? He asked the question.
Yeah.
Only kolor it's kvoide. So we
Wi-Fi
see-
is the reception is much better.
No Shechina, but
Yeah.
to act.
Probably a good point. So many tefillahs that are
No,
can jump on.
this way we should have kavanah.
Okay. But the Gemara says Lapoil by Oseh Shalom. The Gemara says it's a very important thing. It's ke'eneved anifter malifnei rabbi. The Gemara says it's a very important thing, and therefore Therefore, we're Korea to the left and then to the right, to the Eibishter. That's what the Gemara tells us.
In Shemayim, just like in the Chumash that Hashem and Mincha, it doesn't mean literally has a right hand or the etzba, the finger. It's all
Okay, good, but true, but Lepoil, that's the way we act.
Right.
Okay, but that's the we act on that way. That's the way we act in this way. So
Dibra Torah b'Lishon Bnei Adam.
right, it brings the
Kadosh Baruch Hu doesn't have left or right.
What do you mean?
Because we
Yamincha Hashem nadori b'koyach, Yamincha Hashem tiratz oyev. When the Eibishter's right hand crushes our enemies, we're waiting that the Eibishter. It says, hey, the Tzemach Tzedek says that in the time of Golus, the Eibishter turns into a lefty, but the Heishiv Ocha Yemina, like it says in the Eicha. But Mashiach will come. It'll be we're asking for Yeshua that should be Yamincha Hashem nadori b'koyach.
we need now.
Yamincha, what they say, we need the Eibishter's right hand to be Nizgala.
Yeah.
Should be tiratz oyev.
Amen.
And therefore, begashmius, those that are going with Kabbalah are always to putting the jacket in to be magber the tzad yamin al tzad asmoil. The Eibush has yamin asmoil. Well, the poil there is, yamin, mechol mimin mahalal, the Gabriel mismoil mamalal. It comes down begashmius in this way that
We understand more.
that we and it's not chas v'sholem. It's true. It comes down just like Shabbos and Yom Tov in Eretz Yisrael comes the Kedusha Shabbos Yom Tov comes in at this place and at this time, and in America comes the Kedusha of Shabbos comes into this place and this time. So we're magber yamin al smile. The same thing here when we bow. It's not a joke. Take, these are conceptual things that are higher than our understanding. But Lepoil, we act on it. Begashmi is too. Okay, you know what? Well, let's leave. There was an inyan about Ach I'll just leave it for next week. The Eibush shall help him that the Eibush should show Yamincha Hashem Nadori Bakoyach, Yamincha Hashem Tiratz Oyev, that all the enemies of the Yidden there should be Heishiv Ocher Yaminoi. The Eibush should show with his right hand that all the enemies get crushed, and there should be a Yeshua, a full Yeshua, B'vias Mashiach Tzidkenu. Amen.
12 o'clock in Bet Torah, they have something for the IGF. Big thing. Anyone can go. Bet Torah, Ocean Park. 12 o'clock. I don't know. My wife just told me.
What are they doing? I mean, tell them or
No, it's more than telling them.
sorry, speaking.
Oh, I don't know. What am I going to tell you later?
They'll have Barekis, Lekovid Eretz Yisrael.
How many people wash cheesy doughs? I wash.
We might have
In the back also one. That's 5,
Yeah, you wash.
7. Okay.
we have a meeting. Okay. So eventually.
There's a coin here? No. Where's the coin?
Who's going left?
All right, Yashikoa.
Yeshikor Gadol, Atzlocha.
David,
You
I
straight-
maybe you'll
yeah.
bet for us. Does it have anything?
On how I go back. I do the way the Rebbe does it.
Thank you, Abba. Beautiful.
How many inches of snow do you have in front of your house?
I'm in Woodmere, North Woodmere.
Okay.
Chicago, 2 days ago.
Snow here, but I'm headed to Brooklyn.
Oh, yeah?
How about
I have
this?
If I come in the neighborhood, I'll drop
Look at
by.
the floor.
Okay, good. Please let us know.